Alright, we are going to be doing the rose and vine portion of this particular polymer clay barrette in this video. If you haven't seen how to cover the barrette and then do the Tardis, there are two videos before this. I will link them in the description box below if you need to see those parts. For this, we are going to be using red glitter Premo accents, some Spanish olive with a touch of gold put in it. This is rolled out to a 5, I believe, and this one is rolled out to a 3. You're going to need some Pearl-Ex, or I guess you don't have to have Pearl-Ex, but I am using Pearl-Ex in bright yellow. A brush, small brush to apply. A very cool pointy tool my husband got from Harbor Freight. They come in a set. Conical silicone tipped shaper. X-Acto blade, regular pointy tool, and let's get started. First thing we'll do, I have already done this part. You're gonna roll out some vines that come to a point, just some general snakes that come to a point. I have already rolled out 4 of those. I only used 3 before, but I like to roll out extra. And I've already made all the roses that I need. Oh, I forgot a tool. Need a little circle cutter. You don't absolutely have to have it, but I happen to have one. Came in a kit that I got. What you're going to do, depending on how big you want your roses, you're going to cut out between 1 and 3 circles. I'm going to do 3 just so you guys can see how I do it. Take your circles and just pull gently. And then lay that down. And you're going to do the same thing with all 3 of them. Just pull until you've got it in a weird oval. And lay that down. Okay. And you're going to take and lift this tip closest to you and just start rolling it over. Start off slow. And then once you get going a little bit, you're just going to gently, you don't want to push too hard because you still want to be able to make roses. Gently roll them up and then cut them in half. And you have 2 roses. You could absolutely leave them just like that if you wanted to. I think they're kind of pretty. But the kind of roses that I do, I take and I pinch and sort of open the petals up with my finger as I go around. You could also use your shaper for this if it's too tight to get your finger in there. The shaper tends to leave those little ridges right there. Oops, sorry, I got to put my phone on silent. It's kind of appropriate though, since we're making a Tardis. And there you have it. just get it to where you want it, and then just keep pinching at the bottom, and it'll give it a very natural shape. Just keep pinching until you get very thin part, and you can either just pinch it right off like that or cut it, whatever works for you, and you've got a lovely red rose. Okay, now for our leaves, which I haven't done, they're pretty easy though. Just random shapes, some larger, some smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7, 8. And this is probably way more than I actually need. Leaves are actually one of my favorite things to do because they turn out so nice and they're so easy to make. It's just sort of one of those things with natural items that it's very, very easy to make them look nice because everything in nature is irregular. So the less you try to make everything all matchy-matchy, the better it's going to look. Alright, if you can't tell, what I'm doing is where I've gone, where I've made these little dents. Right here, I'm just taking and pushing in to create a dent. Let's see if I can. There we go. Just like that. Because I don't know about you, but I have never seen two leaves that were exactly uniform with no variance at all. Okay, there we go. And that is what our leaves look like. They're still a little bit messy, I know, but we are not completely done with them. Is to place our vines. And at the tip of each vine, at the very small portion, what I do is I start a curve on my thumb and gently push to start curling it around. Just like that. You can keep going, or you can leave it right there. It's up to you. I like that, right there. Okay, so I'm gonna put that guy right there. And I'm just applying light pressure with my thumb. To sort of gently tack it down as I get it where I want it to be. I think it looks like it's gonna go right around that corner. Okay. Oh, I hope you guys can see that. You'll see the next one. Sorry, I keep trying to lift it up so I can see around the camera. And that's the vine. Okay, let's do this one right here. And we're just going to do the exact same thing. Start our curly Q at the end. Is the second largest. Okay. And put it right there. I'm going to take my pointy tool and just sort of press it in there. Don't worry too much about it because we're going to cover that over with a rose. Press down in all these little grooves that you've already made. And that not only helps smooth those areas out, it helps adhere your leaf to the background without misshaping it. Now what we need to do is bring over our roses. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take and put my regular pointy tool right in the center and form this little tip right there so that wherever I want my rose, say like right here, I can sort of stick that extra bit in there. This one's a bit too big, but there we go, that's better. Kind of gives it something to smush down in there so that it makes really good contact. Again, that's the biggest thing with doing things like this is you just gotta make sure that your stuff is adhered really well. There we go. Push down a little bit. And we have a rose. Gonna keep doing that with all the rest of them wherever you want to place them, and be right back. Alright, I've gotten all of my roses placed, and this is a really great way to show you just how different your roses can look just by you doing more or less fewer circles, maybe by not taking so much off of the bottom. you can really make them personalized. So now I'm just going to take some of my bright yellow Pearl-Ex, tap it into my lid right here, and just gently tap it onto my roses because I think it just gives it a very nice look. I'm obsessed with Pearl-Ex lately. I think it enhances a lot of things. It could just be because it's new and shiny, but Pearl-Ex really is awesome. You should try it. Almost to the point where we're gonna bake. And as I stated before in the first video, I'm using Premo, so Premo rebakes quite well. I wound up baking my bases for about 40 minutes because I had a larger item in there, and since Premo does so well, I just didn't see the need to have to open the oven for one item to take it out, so I just left them in there. It'll be just fine. I'm gonna rebake for probably at least another 40 minutes. This time. And to be honest with you, I have kind of noticed that the longer I bake, I mean within reason, but the longer I bake, the sturdier my items seem to be. So I have just sort of figured out my own timetables for baking times. I don't go with what's recommended on the package for the most part, unless it is just a paper thin item. The shortest time that I bake anything for is half an hour, and that is for some fairly thin stuff. I just kind of like, I think it's sturdier the longer you bake. Okay. There we go. Now we have our Doctor Who themed barrettes. Two very different styles. This one is more delicate. The roses are kind of understated. And this one, the roses are, I don't know, right there with the Tardis. I really love them both, though. I think they're beautiful. I hope you guys make some. If you do, absolutely head over to the shop's Facebook and leave me some pictures because I would love to see what you guys do with this. So I'm going to bake these at 275 for 40-ish minutes. And then I'm going to glaze them. And then I'm going to wear them. Thanks for watching.